Hello, college football fans. This is Daniel Shirley. This is season 4 of the Reign Supreme podcast, as Bill likes to say. Thanks for being here. I'm solo today. Bill is taking his bye week along with the team, although I think the team has been off for 4 weeks. So we'll get into what we saw yesterday a little bit. This will be a quick one. No ranting and raving from me. Bill's not here to bring me back. If I rant and rave too much by myself, I might get us kicked off YouTube. So nobody wants that to happen, especially Bill and I, because we like doing this podcast. And I think a lot of us got our ranting and raving out of our system yesterday. I believe, at least, I hope I did. This team is it's just lost, and I don't know the cause of it. I had people asking me about it yesterday. What is wrong with Clemson? And I think there are more things wrong with Clemson than there are right. So it's hard to get into everything. Look, if it's just the offense, okay, fix the offense. Well, we saw yesterday it's the defense too. We saw that last week as well. So it's not just one thing that can be fixed. I don't think it's a yearly an easy fix now. I don't think it's a quick fix. I just think this is a program that is absolutely lost. That look on Dabo's face during the alma mater, I think, says everything that Clemson fans are feeling right now. You look at the way he reacted, and you just got to wonder what is going on in that locker room with this team. This is a team that was supposed to be a playoff team, supposed to be the ACC favorite, and it's a team that is now 1-3, going to be lucky to go to a bowl game. This feels a lot like the end of the Tommy West era, the 3-8 year in 1998. It feels like the 2008 year when Tommy Bowden was fired and Dabo took over and they finished 7-6. Feels a lot about like that 2010 year, right, when Dabo was the coach, his second year, and they finished 6-7. And the only thing about that year is you saw the team fight and scratch and claw, and they lost a lot of close games. And that was what we were hearing about this team. Oh, we're one play away. Well, I think we can stop that talk. And I think we can stop bragging about winning 9 games in a season. And that's great. They've done it. And it is absolutely awesome. But it has no impact on what this team is doing. And those teams had what I think is the most important thing that you can have as a team outside of talent and good coaching. Those teams had leadership. And I think it's clear that you can see this team has no leadership in the players. I don't know why that is. I don't know who's responsible for it. Is it the quarterback? It's clear that he's not a leader, but I'm not singling him out because he's not the only one. I've read so many draft previews for next fall or next spring that say Clemson has 4 or 5 first-round picks on their defense, or 3 or 4 first-round picks on the defense, and maybe a first-round pick at quarterback. I would love for somebody to explain that to me because this group is not showing that. And why is that? Are they done with Clemson and they're already looking ahead to the NFL? Are they overrated? They're not really all that people say they are. Are they hurt? I don't know. But it's clear that those 3 that I've seen, or 4 that I've seen on the defense who are considered first-round talents, I would hate for the NFL evaluators to be looking at what they're putting on film this year and saying they're first-round talents. And I would hate for the quarterback to have them look at his film and even think he's an NFL quarterback. I mean, he's not. Look, I know they put up a lot of yards yesterday, a lot of empty yards, but the Syracuse defense is one of the worst in the country, and they scored 21 points. And then the defense for Clemson, I mean, they look like they've never played college football before in the first half. The first play of the game, TJ Parker misses a tackle. Not an easy tackle, but it's a tackle that a guy's supposed to be a first-round pick a top 10 pick is supposed to make. And he missed the tackle. It goes for a long run. And I think that just set the tone for the whole game. It's tense. They're anxious. The stadium is tense. The stadium is anxious. And they're playing with no confidence. There's no leadership. And that's how you get to 1-3. It just is. You lose the turnover battle a couple of weeks in a row. You don't tackle well. Name one thing this team does well. That's one thing that this team goes into the week and the coaches go, okay, we've got that covered. We can do that. They don't have one. And they don't play defense. They don't play. The offense is head scratching. And David Hood at TigerNet used that that phrase this morning about some of the calls, and he's right on. And hey, the punter's good. That's great. But the kicker is, I know he made the long kick last year in the ACC championship game. He's missed some makeable kicks this year. Here's another question, and hopefully you can put your comments below and let us know what you think. And you can check us out on all the social sites. Who's playing well on this team? Name 5 players who are playing well right now. It's not Peter Woods. It's not TJ Parker. It's not the cornerbacks. My goodness, the cornerbacks were awful yesterday. Again, is that scheme? I don't know. I'm a big defender of Mike Reed, and I love Mike Reed. And I've said a couple times I wouldn't mind Mike Reed being the next head coach at Clemson. But his cornerbacks yesterday, they got worked. And then the safeties don't cover well in space. David Hood pointed that out as well. I thought that was a good observation. And he also made a good observation. The linebackers can't get off blocks. And he mentioned one in particular, but I'm going to point them all out. Sammy Brown makes a couple of big plays a game, but can't get off blocks. Wade Woodhouse has been terrible. I don't know what is going on with him. Maybe it's best that he is the third linebacker like he has been the last couple of years, because it's clear this step up in his role has not paid off. So name 5 players for me who have played well. I've got two. Well, maybe three, but also the third one comes with a little bit of a caveat. The top 2 are Adam Randall. If everybody played as well and as hard as Adam Randall plays, this team would be 4-0, or at the very least 3-1. And Adam Randall's a dude that could have left. Hey, you're not going to let me be a wide receiver anymore. You're going to move my position. You're going to make me play running back with a couple of days practice in a playoff game. All right, I'll do it. That's what you want. And then the other one, there's 2 more. Will Help has played well, and they pointed out every week on the broadcast, he's been their best defender. How's that possible when you're supposed to have 3 first-round picks? Terrell has been terrible. Parker has been non-existent. And Woods is, again, I don't know if the scheme is for Woods to eat up a bunch of blocks so those linebackers behind him can make tackles. If that's the scheme, I'm not a coach. I don't know enough about it. But if that's the scheme, it's not working. I would try something else. So those are the guys that I had. Oh, and then Brian Wesco is the third. But then you look at the last 2 weeks, Brian Wesco's had some big drops. The drop at Georgia Tech, Dabo pointed that out, said that was like the biggest play in the history of the game. And then yesterday, a drop right before the half that could have set up a field goal try. And he just dropped it right in his hands. So other than those 3, if you have somebody, let us know in the comments down below. I thought about this morning. That's the 3 I could come up with. And again, the first 2 were easy. Wesco was a little bit shaky. I mean, he had a big week, had a big game 2 weeks ago. Had a pretty good game yesterday, but still key drops. So then the answer to the question now is, we know what 1-3 looks like. Where do you go from here? Well, look, I don't think this season. I think this season's lost. And I hope you keep coming back and listening to the podcast. I don't want to be the broadcaster when there's a 3 touchdown game says this game is over and you change the channel. But I do think this season is lost. I think this season the leadership is not there. I don't think they have the coaching to overcome the lack of leadership. I think the talent is wildly overrated. I just told you what I thought about the quote unquote draft picks on this roster. I don't think those guys are real first round picks or Cade is an NFL quarterback. I mean, you watch these other quarterbacks play across college football, and he can't do the things that they do. He doesn't read the defense. He can't make the throws. I mean, you watch Fernando Mendoza last night for Indiana. He's a guy at Cal, who was at Cal last year and was okay. And you go to Indiana, look what he's doing now. He's getting coached. He's getting coached up. So where does this season go? I don't know. I mean, what games are they going to win? They're 1-3. Who are they going to beat on the schedule? Maybe UNC. UNC's the laughing stock, probably even more than Clemson is. And Clemson is a laughing stock right now. The jokes and the memes and all that stuff are out there, and you've earned it. You've got to own that. Maybe BC, Furman, but they're not beating Florida State. They're not beating Louisville. They're not beating South Carolina. So that's 6 losses. Maybe they get to 6-6 and go to the bowl game. Maybe the best thing is for them not to. Maybe it's for them to have a complete meltdown or go 5-7 to where the people in charge recognize we need a complete reboot of what we're doing. And I think the thing in my mind, and I've had David Hale from ESPN point this out on my radio show here in Macon and my streaming show, college football more than ever now is a 1-year proposition. Look at Florida State. 2 years ago, great. Last year didn't have the right dudes, didn't have the right leadership. They're awful. This year they're great again. And we'll see what they become. Well, I mean, we're 4 weeks into the season. You would think that Clemson is prepared for that. I know it's not the way Dabo wants to build the program, but he says every year in January they do a complete restart. So you would think they would be okay with it being this 1-year proposition kind of a thing. I know it's a little bit against what he says and how he wants to build the program, but also that 1-year reboot or restart should help them overcome some of that. So this year they don't have the leaders on the team. They don't have enough talent. They don't have any leadership. So what about next year, right? I just absolutely think they need a complete staff turnover. Not the whole staff needs to go, but I mean, there may be 2 or 3 coaches on this staff who should stay. I hate calling for people's jobs because I know what that means to their families, and I'm not going to name anybody specifically. But there are 6 coaches on this staff, 5 coaches on staff, and maybe a 6th who probably shouldn't be on this staff next year if you're going to compete for championships. If you're going to slide back into the Tommy Bowden era and Clemsoning, all that stuff, okay, then keep all your buddies, keep all your former players, and do that. And that's fine. If that's the expectation, if that's the standard at that point. I don't think that's the case. I think Dabo Swinney is too competitive a dude. You saw how much it meant to him yesterday. You saw what he meant, how he reacted in the alma mater. You saw how he reacted in the post-game news conference. This means something to him. But it's supposed to mean that much for the players too. And the other coaches. And I don't know that it does. So you've got to retool the coaching staff, and you've got to find some dudes again. But you also, when you find those dudes who are players, you've got to give them schemes that work. This offense is archaic. It's boring. It doesn't challenge the other coaching staffs. Go read all the coaching insiders that you can read on any of the college football sites and see what this offense, see what they say about this offense. Hey, and I work at the Athletic. We've written several of those. Other people have as well. And they say, yeah, that offense is not that challenging when they don't have Sammy Watkins and Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson and Mike Williams, and they don't have any of those guys right now. What about the defense? What is Tom Allen's scheme? Is it just hey, he said on the broadcast, or they said for him, we are going to stop the run. Really? You got pushed around up front. So what is the scheme? Is it a bend, don't break? Watch Oklahoma's defense yesterday against a pretty good offensive line. That's what defense is supposed to look like. Attack, aggressive, hard-hitting, angry, not soft. I mean, this program has gotten soft. There's just no doubt about that. And, I don't know how you get it back. I do think Dabo is the right guy to get him back. But he has to admit and acknowledge that what they're doing now is not working. And, there's no faster way to do that than 1-3 or 5-7 or 3-8 or 6-6. And let's say they somehow go on a miracle run and Cade Klubnik says he's quote unquote unbroken. Thank you, TigerNet, for that quote from him. Let's say they go 9-3, 10-3, win the bowl game. What did they accomplish? This team that was supposed to be an ACC favorite, college football playoff team, national championship contender, 10-3. What did they accomplish? Nothing. Nothing. I mean, you didn't win a championship, didn't win an ACC championship, didn't win a playoff game, didn't go to the playoff, didn't win a national championship. And look, the goal every year can't be to win a national championship. That's unrealistic. Clemson is beyond that. That stretch is over. So I think, and I've said this before on the podcast, the ceiling for this program is to win an ACC championship now and go to the playoff, maybe win a game or two. That's the ceiling. But you didn't even reach that this year. And you're going to be lucky to be playing in Charlotte in the bowl game, having, mayonnaise dumped over your head if you somehow win the game. So it's not good. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's just the easiest way to put it. And, hopefully next year there are transfers brought in. There are new coaches brought in. There's leaders brought in, because there's not many leaders on this roster, if there are any. And we see a change in what we're seeing from Clemson football right now. Because if you're a Clemson fan, these last 4 weeks have been rough. And LSU's pretty good. Georgia Tech is really good, physical. But there's no way you should be 1-3 right now if you have any kind of leadership on this roster. And, we'll see if they can get it fixed. But we appreciate everybody joining us on this special edition of the Reign Supreme podcast. Bill will be back next week after the bye week. Hopefully he's refreshed. Maybe he can make a tackle. Maybe he can hit the wide open receiver on a slant that probably is a touchdown. Maybe he can catch that pass when it's thrown to him. But we'll see you next time. Have a good day.